Hello everyone, welcome to the YouTube channel of Chamili Devi Institute of Pharmacy. Myself Rashmi Arora, Assistant Professor Pharmacology. Today we will see in the presentation about the pharmacology of gonadal hormones and their inhibitors. We will be covering this topic in 4 parts. So today I am going to discuss part 1. Before moving down, actually on the gonadal hormones and their analogs along with their inhibitors, first we will have to look upon from where the gonadal hormones are secreting. Basically, hypothalamus is the center from where the gonadotrophin releasing hormones they get released, reach up to the anterior lobe of the pituitary, and there they stimulate the secretion of follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. Both these hormones they are gonadotrophic hormones because they act on gonads. However, they are trophic hormones. Actually, they synthesize from the anterior pituitary and from there they travel down to the gonads for their actual action. So that is why they are called tropic hormones. Now the classification part. Gonadal hormones, they are of 3 major types: estrogen, progesterone and androgens. And their antagonists are also included. Like if we talk about estrogen, their antagonists are anti-estrogenic agents. Progestins, then anti-progestins we have. Androgens means testosterone. Then we have anti-androgens analogs. Estrogen is present in the body in 3 isoforms naturally. And anti-estrogen agents, they are of 3 major categories. One, the agent which blocks the receptor, these are called receptor antagonist. The agent which inhibit the aromatase enzyme which is responsible for the conversion of testosterone into the estradiol. That enzyme gets inhibited by the aromatase inhibitor anastrozole, which is anti-estrogenic agent. And another category, that is itself gonadotrophin releasing hormone agonist. For example, danazol. Some of the gonadotrophic releasing hormones, they at one point of time behaves as agonist, and with the passage of time, if we talk about their duration of action, if we choose longer duration of action gonadotrophic releasing hormone analogs, then they behave as down regulating agents of estrogens. That is why it has been categorized into anti-estrogenic agents. Now coming back to the receptor antagonists, receptor antagonists have 2 major categories. One which is full antagonizing effect, that is fulvestrant, and second is selective estrogen receptor modulators, those are tamoxifen, which causes the conformational changes in the receptor configuration, and that is how they won't allow the estrogen to bind to the receptor, and thus shows the antagonizing property. Now progestins and antiprogestins, we have one agent and antiprogestin, that is mifepristone, and then testosterone or androgen, which controls the secondary sexual characters in male. And anti-androgenic agents, they further divided into 4 major categories. One is similar to estrogen receptor antagonist, flutamide. Then we have enzyme inhibitor, that is 5-alpha reductase inhibitor, finasteride. Then we have synthesis inhibitor, ketoconazole. Ketoconazole is also an systemic as well as topical antifungal agent. And the last one is gonadotrophin releasing hormone agonist, which can be combinedly used with contraceptives to show the anti-androgenic effect. All these inhibitors, they act on several pathways, starting from the hypothalamus till the expression responsive cells. So if we talk about the first category, that is gonadotrophin releasing hormone antagonist, they basically blocks the release of releasing hormones from hypothalamus itself. And some agonists, as I have told you earlier, that some agonists, if they are short duration of action, they behave as agonistic agent, they help in releasing the hormone from hypothalamus. But if they have longer duration of action, then initially they stimulate the release, but long term use, they causes the down regulation of releasing hormone. So they behave in a mixed manner. That is why plus and minus sign both are there for stimulation as well as for down regulation. Then clomiphene, they promote the synthesis of follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone from the anterior pituitary. On the other hand, contraceptives and danazol, they inhibit the release of these particular gonadotrophic hormones from the anterior pituitary. As soon as these hormones, when released from the anterior pituitary, they gets converted into progesterone and testosterone and androstenedione. So from testosterone, androstenedione, with the help of aromatase enzyme, the three isoforms of estrogen which are naturally available in the body are estradiol, estrone and estriol get synthesized, and these, mainly estradiol, it acts through the transcription mechanism on the estrogen response element and responsive cells to generate more and more of estrogen in the body. And this aromatase enzyme, which is responsible for conversion, gets inhibited by anastrozole. Similarly, ketoconazole and danazole, they inhibit the conversion of gonadotrophic hormones into their specific analogs. So this is basically a summary chart for what we are going to discuss in different parts of the presentation about their analogs and antagonists. First, we will take up gonadotrophic releasing hormones. Before moving down to actual gonadotrophic hormones, first we are talking about the releasing hormones. All the gonadotrophic releasing hormones, they release in a pulsatile manner in an on and off situation, like the whole process is governed by feedback mechanism. Major two gonadotrophic releasing hormones are follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. As we are talking that gonadotrophic releasing hormones, they have two categories. One is short acting analog and second is long acting analog. In short acting, we have gonadorelin, which shares a T half of around 4 minutes, and it is mainly used for diagnostic purpose and in sometimes amenorrhea like conditions. And in long acting analogs, we have goserelin, neferelin, leuprolide, etc. like drugs, and their depot preparation is also available for 1 month to 3 months, and they share the T half of around 4 to 5 hours. Goserelin and neferelin and leuprolide. As I have told you that after initial stimulation, they will cause the suppression of gonadotrophic hormone release. That is, they are down regulating the actual synthesis of releasing hormones. The main use of these hormones, especially the long acting ones, in the precocious puberty. Precocious puberty is when the puberty attains at very small age, or it occurs very soon. Then in breast cancer, prostate cancer, leiomyoma. Leiomyoma is nothing but fibroid. However, myoma word depicts the cancer production, but very rarely these fibroids gets converted into any kind of cancerous growth. And endometriosis. Endometriosis is a term used when the tissue layer which should be inside the uterus gets start developing outside the uterus. Then this term is endometriosis. So in these conditions, gonadotrophic releasing hormones are used to control. The major side effect of gonadotrophic releasing hormone analogs are hot flashes, vaginal atrophy, and decreased bone density, especially in females. We have their antagonist available as well, that is ganirelix and sectorelix. These are the pure antagonists, and they do not cause initial increase in gonadotrophic secretion as the long acting releasing hormone analogs does. They initially stimulate, but with passage they down-regulate the synthesis. So they has been categorized in both the categories, in agonistic as well as antagonistic. But these two agents, ganirelix and cetorelix, they are pure antagonists of gonadotrophin releasing hormones. Then we have gonadotrophins. Gonadotrophins are follicle stimulating hormones and luteinizing hormone. There are various preparations available like minotropins, which is a combination of luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. Then we have the recombinant preparation as well of both these hormones, and also we have human chorionic gonadotrophin hormone. So follicle stimulating hormone, as we know that it helps in the development of ovum and spermatozoa in females and males respectively, and basically they are developed from the urine of postmenopausal women where their abundance is very high. These agents are urofolitropin, which contains only follicle stimulating hormone, and minotropins, they contain both the follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormones. They are most popularly used in infertility cases in female and male as well. Then chorionic gonadotrophic hormone is secreted basically by the placenta and is obtained from the urine of pregnant women. They are used in endometriosis, precocious puberty and contraception, and these drugs can be used by various means of routes of administration like parenteral, by intramuscular injection, or through intranasal route. Follicle stimulating hormone is a glycoprotein hormone and produced from the anterior lobe of the pituitary and helps in gametogenesis and spermatogenesis. It stimulates the androgen conversion into estrogens. Minotropin is the congener of follicle stimulating hormone, commercially available since 1960, and it is purified form and obtained from the urine of postmenopausal females, combination of both the hormones, and actually in menopausic females, this in follicle stimulating hormone level gets rose up because estrogen and progesterone are no longer being made. That is why their levels in the circulation gets high and they get easily appear in the urine, and thus we can purify them from collection of urine of postmenopausal females. Urofolitropin, it is a purified only follicle stimulating hormone and derived from again the postmenopausal females. Folitropin beta, it is a member of recombinant technology generated, and it is very pure. That is why the cost is very high, however available in injectables and subcutaneous preparations, and they are used in involuntary females and in those where pituitary and hypothalamic gonadism with infertility like conditions arises. Adverse effects are abdominal pain, vaginal bleeding, ovarian cyst, and sometimes in pain at the site of injection, and rashes appear. There is one more adverse reaction associated with the use of these hormones is risk of multiple births. Means there could be the chances of triplets, twins, triplets, or more. So we have to take care about this reaction as well while taking these type of hormones. So this is all from the present part. We will continue this in part 2 of pharmacology of gonadotrophin hormones and their analogs as well as antagonists. Till then, stay with us. Have a nice day.